Has Nisha gone offline?
Like
Uh,
Anisha, can you hear?
yes, Nate, recording has been restarted. Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, great. Welcome to our webinar today. Today, we're going to talk about how it's January. It's the beginning of 2026. It's the opportunity to look forward and see what it's going to take to help your business get to the next level. So let's just get some housekeeping items out there. This is a dialogue. I am your host today. I'm your presenter, but this will work best if we engage. And so you can do that through the chat box. You can come off of mute and we can have a conversation. Sometimes that's a little awkward over Zoom, but I embrace the awkward, and so we're just going to embrace that, and we're going to try to see if we can give you basically 45 minutes to an hour of consulting to make your business better. We're going to give you a few ideas and even some assignments, okay? And you can follow along if you so choose. Now, um, commercial real estate's a tough business, and growing your business is a challenge. Most of the challenges are not external. So when you talk to a real estate professional and you ask them how their business is doing, and they say something like, the market is slow, then that may be true, but that is not the reason that they're not being successful. Commercial real estate professionals, especially brokers and agents, the locus of control, the center of control is right inside of them. It's inside of us. So if your business is failing, the bad news is it's your fault. The good news is it's your fault. And if it's your fault, then you can change it. So you control your own destiny. And that accountability and responsibility is both scary and empowering. And I hope you'll find it empowering today. Okay, Kishan, if you'll advance the slide, let me tell you why Kishan invited me to host this thing. I'm a CCIM and an SIOR. What do those initials mean? They mean that I've done this business long enough and done enough deals that I have some level of credibility. I'm not here to talk about myself, I'm here to talk about you. But if you wonder how I am credible to talk about this, I'm not a bot. I'm not someone Kishan's paid to do this. I'm simply a good friend of Kishan. I trust him, and I believe he has a model that can really help all of us improve our business. And we'll talk about that. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm actually not here to endorse um, any specific company. I'm going to endorse a method. And I think Kishan and his team are in a very good position to help you embrace that model, but the model doesn't require him. And so be very clear here that this is simply a way forward to help your business grow and succeed. So here's some stuff. I've been in newspapers and done deals all over the world, and that's cool, but let's advance and let's talk about you and how your business ought to function. I teach the CCIM 102 class, okay? And in that class, it's about market analysis. And so, Kisha, if you'll advance the slide. Yeah, so we talk about these different ideas. How do we calculate demand in a market? How much demand is out there? How much supply exists? And if we can calculate demand and supply, then we can figure out where there's opportunities, right? We all would love to find markets and product types where there's more demand than supply, because that means we can build new buildings. We have investable markets where developers and buyers see rent growth, see opportunity. Those are great markets to do brokerage in. Okay. We talk about absorption and we talk about capital. So, how does the cost of capital or interest rates impact our ability to build new product or expand business? All of that is really helpful and interesting. And we can even use these ideas to help us find opportunity in markets that aren't doing so well. So I think about the Chicago office market, which has really contracted, or the San Francisco office market. If you're in one of those markets, can you still be a successful office broker? My answer is yes, but it's nuanced. We need to know these types of tools in order to help, in order to find that opportunity. And that's great. And we can teach you all how to do that. I'm trusting that each of you has enough experience and nuance that you can find deals and you can help provide consultation to your clients. That's not what today's phone call is about or today's webinar. Today's webinar is about something else. I'm assuming you have the foundational skills to go make a transaction happen. I believe that. I know many of you, and I have a lot of faith and confidence in your ability to do that. If you struggle there, we can give you some other resources, but I think you're capable. Let's advance to the next slide and let me show you what I think the real issue is. Okay. So 102 is all about demand and supply and how markets function. Great. Okay. If you don't feel like you've got a good grasp on that, you can go take the CCIM 102 class. Let's advance one more slide, Kishan. The My philosophy and what I would invite you into is a space where it's not, we don't pitch data, okay? Let me frame it this way. I've been in way too many meetings where a broker is pitching, I have access to CoStar and LoopNet. I have access to Crexi. I'll run you a CoStar report. The days of that being impressive are over because any of us can access data sources with a fee. We pay a monthly fee, we get the data. That's not good enough anymore. Okay. And I don't mean to be derogatory towards any profession, but the days of sort of residential real estate where we list a property on the multiple listing service and expect that to be where our job starts and ends, that won't work in commercial real estate. We need to be able to really consult our clients. How do we help them make decisions? Just before this webinar, I got a call from a buyer who's looking, he has a 1031, he's looking to place his money. And he said, how did you get to this cap rate? And I explained it to him, and it was very clear that he didn't understand what cap rates meant and how we figured those out. And I didn't have time to explain it to him then, but he needs a consultant. He needs someone to teach him that cap rates are only one measurement. It's one thermometer in a wide world of capital markets where capital is moving, where there's opportunity for value add, there's opportunity. Are you looking for cash flow? Are you looking for appreciation? Is now the right time to buy? What asset class? What geography? All of those questions can be answered through market analysis, and they require sophisticated consultants like you to help them do that. You know this, you're good at it. That's why you're here, is because you're an excellent real estate consultant or real estate advisor. And your job is to help people in their decision-making process. That's, if we keep that in our minds as the number one priority, helping people make effective decisions, then you will be successful in this business. I guarantee it. Okay, that mindset alone will get you there. Here's the problem. We get distracted. All right, Kisha, next slide. So we're out there helping people make decisions, and then we get all of these tasks. Okay, well, if we're going to help people make decisions, don't we also have to analyze the markets and do some financial analysis? And then there's administrative tasks because all of you have received commission before, so you get the commission check. Well, you've got to enter that into your bookkeeping system and record that and eventually file taxes. And maybe you've got to file something with the state. Once you get the assignment, once you've helped someone make a decision, they're ready to sell their property, you've got to order the sign and list the sign and create the property description and create an offering memorandum and a marketing flyer and make prospecting calls. And you've got to make sure all the deadlines, once you get under contract, you evaluate the offer, then you've got to get all the timelines in place, not to mention doing your own data entry, keeping track of your prospecting, and answering the phone, answering emails, and the list goes on and on and on. And all of those things support this one mission, helping people make effective decisions. That's it. That's your real purpose. That's your real job. Help people make effective decisions. And when they transact, because of that decision-making process, you collect a commission. It's a beautiful model. And those of you who are so good at helping people make decisions will be successful unless you get distracted and bogged down by all of these tasks. Okay. But they still have to get done. You can't run your business if you don't file your taxes and don't do your continuing education, answer the phone, emails, all that stuff. All of it has to happen. So how do we keep the most important thing, the most important thing, and still do all the other stuff? And that's where most of us at some point in our career, usually about 12 to 18 months in, we hit a wall and we can't actually take on more deals. We want more deals, but we can't actually take them on effectively because of our capacity. So either one of two things happens. Either our service goes down and our ability to provide quality service to clients drops, or we simply have to say no. We can't do it, right? We get fired. And so, how do we keep quality high and continue to add more clients? Well, we're going to teach you the process on how to do that right now. Okay, next slide, Kishan. Okay, we're going, Kishan, then these slides were made by Kishan. So here's a hint, hint, wink, wink. The solution, WaySpark. I'm going to propose that maybe the solution is 𝗙𝗏spark, but I want to focus on the process on how we get to that decision. Okay, so Kishan, I'm going to share my screen and then we'll ask you to come back on and share yours again. But let me just share a spreadsheet here. Replace current share. Okay. Now, this is going to take someone on this call to be very vulnerable. Okay, so think about that for a minute. I need a volunteer. Let me explain what we're going to do so you know what you're volunteering for. This is not a magician's trick, okay? You're going to know exactly what I'm going to ask you. But I would like someone to be so bold as to come on and let me interview you. Here are the interview questions. Question number one, what was your 2025 GCI, gross commission income, gross revenue from commission? That, not a lot of people want to share that number, and I'm going to ask you to share it without judgment. If your number is 100 grand, we're not going to say it's good or bad. If your number is 400 grand, a million, 7 million, it's not good or bad. It's just a number. If it's zero, if it's 50 grand, it doesn't matter what the number is, but that'll be the first question. What's your GCI? The second question is how many weeks a year do you work? Now you're going to say, I work every week. And I'll say, yes, I believe you. But I don't know anyone who truthfully is working on Christmas or New Year's or the 4th of July or. So we got to take the holidays out, right? Then we've got to take some time out for vacation. And if you're like most people, you get sick once in a while. We got to take those days out. And we don't count working if you're not working your deals, which means when you're at a CCIM conference or you're at a Keller Williams conference, those days don't count. Those are professional development days. They count. You're becoming a better person and a better professional, but they don't count towards your working days. So my second question will be, how many weeks do you work in a year? And I can help you answer that question when we get there. The third question, there's only going to be three questions. The third question will be, how many hours per week do you work? And the more honest you are on that answer, whether it's 20 or 40 or 80, it doesn't matter. Whatever your number is, it needs to be honest. Okay, so be thinking through that. Those of you who don't choose to be interviewed, only one person is going to get interviewed. Everyone else is going to be listening. I would invite you to take out a piece of paper and write this down. If you don't like paper and you want to do this electronically, whip up a blank Excel sheet and follow along. Okay. This number is critical. If you're on this webinar and you're not doing this exercise, then frankly, I don't mean to be rude, but you're wasting your time. You've got to do this exercise and you need to do it at least once per year. Okay. You have to. If you don't know this number, it's a big problem for you. Okay, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Now, after all that said, do we have a volunteer who would be willing to interact for a minute and be in the hot seat?
We'll do it.
Wade! Okay, Wade, here we go. Your 2025 GCI, so last year's total gross commission, it can be a rough estimate if it has to be.
197.
197, right? Not good, not bad, just a fact. $197,000 in gross commission revenue. Now, Wade, in a typical year, How many weeks are you working? So 52 weeks in a year. Let's take 1 week off just for holidays. All the holidays gives you 1 week, maybe more, but 1 full week off. So 51's the maximum you can give us. You've got
I worked
vacation,
211 days last year, Nate. So
211.
yeah, so how many is
So
that in
let's do
weeks?
211 divided by 5, because I assume you're taking weekends off.
Not always. I work a lot of Saturdays.
Okay. How you track every single day you work? That's very
Yeah,
impressive.
thank you.
Okay. So what I've done is I've taken 211. Here, I'll just do the math right here for you. 211 days divided by 5. Okay, because I'm basically saying Monday through Friday makes a work week. Fair? Can we all agree on that? So we're going to say Wade works 42.2 weeks per year. Now, I'm not usually this precise. I usually work 40 to 42 weeks a year. And I just put in a whole number, 41, 42, whatever. But for Wade, this dude, he's got it dialed in. So we're going to be very precise here, 42.2 weeks per year. What that means is he's taking roughly 10 weeks off a year, okay? Which is normal. That's good. That's healthy. This is not judgment. This is good. He makes $4,668 per week gross, right? All we did was we took the total number of revenue that he makes. It's now there's splits involved. Okay. We're not talking about splits right now. So for his 197,000 divided by weeks worked. Okay. You should all be able to do that. 197 or whatever your number is divided by weeks worked. So that's 46, roughly $4,700 gross per week. Okay. Now, Wade, how many hours per week do you work?
36.
36. Great. Okay. So all I've done is type that in here and I take the weekly gross revenue, 4668 for Wade, divided by the hours worked. What that gives us is his hourly number. Wade's time is worth $129.67. I did not make this up. This is not some imaginary number. This is Wade's number divided by weeks worked, divided by hours. He makes $130 per hour. Yeah, Shika, go ahead.
So just repeat again that you divided 197 by the weeks he worked, and then uh, he works for 36 hours per week. What did you do with that, the 36 hours? I couldn't understand that step.
Yeah, I divided his weekly revenue by the total number of hours per week.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Good question. Thank
Thank
you. Okay, so Wade, $130 per hour. Now I told you I'd only ask you 3 questions, Wade. I'm going to sneak a fourth in. Is this more or less than you thought you were making?
Uh, it's much less, but I moved this year, so that's the only thing I could say.
Okay.
It's much less.
So
My
Wade might have
bills are
thought
more
his
than
time
that.
was worth more than that. No problem. I'm going to suggest for most of us, when you see this number, you're going to be stunned at how high it is. Okay. So here, we just did the exercise. Wade's off the hot seat. We're using his numbers. Thankfully, he's offered his numbers to us, and we're going to use him as an example. Okay. The next step. So step one is once a year, you've got to do this. Okay. Step two is this question. What am I doing every day that is worth less than $130 per hour?
Hmm.
Okay. Woo, wow. Now that's a shocker, right? Okay. For me, it's running to the bank. It's doing my CMAs, doing my offering memorandums. It's playing games on my phone. It's right. It's all these other things that I'm doing that aren't worth $130 an hour. If I can outsource those tasks, so I don't know what Kishen's pricing is. I don't know what that cost is. And I'm not even suggesting you have to use Kishen. What I'm suggesting is if you find, let's see, how about creating a BOV or a BPO or a CMA? If that task, if I can hire someone else to do it for $30 an hour, I'm making $100 an hour, right? Sort of. that math only works if I'm going to spend my time doing what I do best, which remember, back to the beginning, is helping people make effective decisions. And that means all the tasks that are worth $130 an hour or more: prospecting, consulting with clients, going to lunch with clients, writing RFPs, talking to
Nate, you froze.
We can't hear him anymore.
Yeah, I think maybe some network issue or something. He'll be back. Meanwhile, everyone can quickly do this exercise and see, you don't have to disclose that, but see, what number that hourly rate comes in for each of you.
Yes, Kishan, we are doing it, and my God, what an amazing class.
Yeah, it is kind of self instro. I don't know what the word is. How would you pronounce that? Wait, can you help me with that?
Introspection,
Yeah,
introspection.
yes,
It's an eye opener.
yes. No,
That's an eye opener for sure. What a great exercise.
Have I been pronouncing your name wrong all this time? Is it Kishan versus Kishan?
Yes, it's Kishan. That's
Oh,
how
it's
it is.
Kashan. Shoot, sorry.
No, it's
I don't know what
Kishan.
happened.
It's
Yeah, welcome
Kishan,
back,
not
dude.
Kishan.
It's
Oh, okay.
Kishan.
Yes,
Okay.
Kishan.
You've been saying it right, Nate. I
Okay,
haven't.
okay, good.
2
I'm sorry, I
years.
got bounced out, and now I'm back. Okay, let me share my screen one more time. Let's keep going. So imagine on a Wednesday afternoon, I make $300 an hour, whether I'm an attorney, whether I'm a CEO, or whether I'm a commercial real estate professional. And the lawn needs to be mowed. So I get my lawnmower out and I mow the lawn. What am I doing? Or right, I can pay someone else to mow my lawn for $25 an hour or even $100 if it takes 2 hours. That's a much better use of my time so I can focus on what I do best. That's the principle. Okay. Now, so remember, step one, you got to do this calculation once per year. Okay. It'll change because some years you'll earn more, some years you'll earn less. No problem. And if you're not making anything, then you've got to do the work. If your time is worth $0 an hour or $10 an hour, then you're going to outsource different things than Wade is. That's okay. But you got to know this number first. The second part of the process, as you start to think about which tasks are worth what, is I want to invite you into this. Okay. And I'm happy to share this with you. This is an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. It has basically 3 tabs. You only need 2 of them. This one that says weekly and this one that says hourly rate calculation. Okay. And I'll make this very quick. I don't want to get in the weeds here, but let me just zoom out real carefully. All we did was focus on, sorry, Wade, we only focused on this column right here. But you could actually put your splits in and you could get your net commission income. That would be net to you. And then you have taxes, you have other business expenses, probably insurance, whatever expenses. You could actually calculate your profit. And so for you, this could be something like $65 an hour profit to you, right? So you could do these other columns if you want. I'm suggesting right here, let's focus on column B. That's all you got to do. Okay. But when you get the spreadsheet, you're going to see these other columns. Don't let them confuse you. You only need to do column B. All right.
Okay.
All right. Then you have to do this once a year. This is the worst part. This is painful. This is like going to the dentist. It's like eating your vegetables before you have a great steak. Like, and maybe you love vegetables. Okay, that's fine. This is hard. What you have to do is once per year, you've got to track your time. So this is a weekly block schedule. This is not planning. You're not planning your time. No, no, no. This is you writing down what you did every 30 minutes during the day. Because it's one thing to say, I'm going to outsource bookkeeping, I'm going to outsource this. I actually want to know where you're spending your time. So if Wade were to do this, he knows his time's worth, what, $130 an hour. He's going to go in and for 1 week, he's going to write down, I woke up at 6:30. I drank coffee and exercised. I did my morning meditation. 8 o'clock, I did emails. 8:30, I checked my social media. By 9 o'clock, I called my kids. Oh, took my kid to kindergarten. 10 o'clock, I made some prospecting calls. 10:30, I got distracted. So it's going to serve two purposes. Number one, we're going to see how we're using our time. And I suspect you're going to find what, you have to excuse me, but it's popular to talk about fraud, waste, and abuse right now in terms of political stuff, in terms of tax money, how we're spending it. I'm going to suggest you're going to find places where you're cheating yourself, where you're spending your time doing something you probably isn't helpful, checking the news, reading on your phone, whatever. You're going to map this out for an entire week. You're going to do it on Saturday and Sunday. I want you to know how you're spending your time. And here's the excuse you're going to have. Well, this week is not a typical week. No, this week's special. It was Martin Luther King Day on Monday. I don't care. You got to do it 1 week. I'm not asking it to be precise. I'm not asking it to be exact. I'm saying do your best, track your time. The first thing you'll find is room for improvement. You'll see it, and I want you to, when you look at this, I want you to put on an imaginary white lab coat and be a scientist. This is not about judging yourself. It's not about condemning yourself and starting to say, well, I'm not good enough, and look at all this. I should have exercised and I should have done this. That you will be tempted to do that. You'll be tempted to say, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to memorize, I don't know, I'm going to learn Latin. Look, everyone take a deep breath. All this is about seeing how you spent your time with no judgment. So number one, you'll find ways to improve. Number two is you'll notice, I want you to go through with a highlighter. Okay. Now, if it's Excel, you can just change the color of the cell. If you print it out, you're going to go through with a highlighter. Let's see if I've got one here. Okay. A little green one. And I'm going to circle everything that is less than $130 an hour of value. If I believe I can give it to someone else and they can do it for less than $130 an hour, I'm going to circle that column or that cell. And so I should have a whole bunch of circles all over my schedule for the week. Okay. Then I'm going to make a list of all of those tasks. Some of the tasks, now I will concede this. Some of the tasks that you circle, you are going to say, I don't trust, even though it's low value. I do not trust other people to do this correctly. That's great. Don't outsource it. Don't ask anyone else to do it. For me, that's probably my BOVs and my CMAs. I'm so picky about those. I want them to be perfect. So I'm not going to let someone else do that. For you, it might be social media. You like the social media. You like creating content. You want it to be perfect. You will not outsource it. No problem. All I'm asking you to do is make a list of all the things that are worth less than your hourly rate. And then from that list, decide what's worth outsourcing. This will be painful, and I'll tell you why. It'll be painful for many reasons. The first reason is you probably like control. You want to be in control of your business. And when you ask someone to do some of your business for you, it will feel scary. It'll feel like you're giving your baby to someone else, your firstborn child. You're going to let some stranger babysit your child. Okay? That's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It will be scary. And I'm telling you, if you want to grow, if you want more revenue, if you want to be a better commercial real estate agent, this is the only way. It is the only way. Now you might say, Nate, no, you're here on a webinar telling me what I have to do so that I'll sign up. No, I'm not. You don't have to hire Kishan. You can hire a junior agent. You can hire a secretary. You can hire an administrative assistant. You can partner with someone. You can hire your son, your daughter, your neighbor. It doesn't matter. You can hire anyone. You can go onto Fiverr and find a contractor. You can do anything you want. You don't have to do it with Kishan. I'm going to tell you why Kishan I think is a pretty good option. Okay, but you don't have to do any of that. You do have to outsource the stuff that doesn't make $130 an hour. And wait, I'm actually talking straight to you right now. You have to get rid of that stuff. Otherwise, you are going to be stuck. Yeah, some years you might be do 250 and you might get a really big deal and do 400. And some years you'll do less and you'll do 100 or 150. But you cannot reach your commercial real estate potential unless you give some stuff away. We all have 24 hours and we can only fill it with what we have. I know a guy who stays up till 2 in the morning because he's unwilling to give his stuff away. So he works till 2 in the morning. Okay, that's one option. You only have the same amount of time as everyone else. Okay, I saw some chats coming in. Kishan, I'm gonna kick it back to you to share your screen while I look at the chats, and then we'll keep going.
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, Brenda says, are we going to get this Excel document? You sure, sure. So, Kishan, actually, I'll email this to you. Can you distribute it to all
Yes,
the
of
attendees?
course. Yes, we'll do.
Okay.
Nate, can you stop sharing the screen? I'll start
Oh,
sharing.
yeah, definitely. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Joseph says, will the recording be shared with participants? I believe the answer is yes. Okay, so you'll get the recording and you'll get this Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so those are the two things you have to do, right? Number one is fill out the math so you can figure out your hourly rate. Some of you have already done that, and boom, you get the gold star. You already did task number one. Task two, you got to fill out the weekly tracker just to see how you're spending your time. This is just an observation. It's like when you start a diet and you write down everything you ate. It's the same thing. Just how are you spending your time? Step three is then you have to make the hard decision. Okay. And when you make that hard decision about stuff you're going to outsource, I'm going to invite you to consider the WaySpark. Okay. You don't have to use them, but there are a few reasons why I think they might be a good option. Okay. So this is the sales portion of the call. Okay. Here we go. Here's why I think they're good because you don't have to have a polished answer. One of the big problems here is you'll do step one, you'll do step two, you'll have your list of tasks you need to outsource, you need to give to someone else. And then you will have this concern, maybe or maybe not, but most people have this concern. Yeah, Nate, this all sounds great, but now I have to train someone. And the training is painful. It's brutal. And here's the worst part about the training is now you have all of your tasks that you put on your weekly tracker and you have to train someone. So you actually made your life harder. You didn't make it easier yet. You made it harder. Because if you hire your son, you got to train your son to do the work. If you hire a bookkeeper, you've got to give them access to the book. You got to do all of that, right? One of the reasons I like the WaySpark is because you can go to them and say, here's the list of tasks that I think I need help with, but I don't know how. I don't know how to outsource. I don't know how to train you. I don't know what to do. And in a 30-minute phone call with Kishan, with the WaySpark, they will tell you, they'll look at your list and tell you what they can do. And almost more importantly, they will tell you what they cannot do, which I love. They're going to show up with honesty and say, here's what we think we can do, here's what we won't do, and here's how we will do it. Not only that, we've done it for other people. We are experienced, and you don't have to train us. You might have to train us a little bit. You might have to give us a password to your CRM. You might have to give us access to your books or whatever, or your social media accounts. But in terms of execution, we know what we're doing and you can train us as little or as much as you want. I think that's a benefit. Okay, Kishan, next slide. They've created some pillars. Okay, so basically what they've said is here's some services we offer to give you a little taste. I mean, imagine this was an open house and in the back, Kishan's got a full spread. Now, not to make it weird or anything, but if Kishan were serving the food, it's probably Indian food. It's probably delicious. So he's back there and he's got all sorts of curries, all sorts of whatever back there, and you're going back and helping yourself to whatever you feel looks good. That's the same thing they're doing here, a full buffet of services. The first thing that they have to offer is digital marketing. If you don't have a machine, so you're spending your time calling people, you're closing deals. Wade, I don't know if you're willing to answer this question. Over how long have you been a commercial real estate guy?
Going on my year and a half.
Year and a half? Oh man, I would have guessed the way you were tracking yourself, you would have been 18 years. Okay, a year and a half. Can I ask how many deals you have closed or worked on in that time?
Well, I've been in residential and land sales for 38 years, Nate. So
Oh,
1,200
okay.
transactions in that 38
So
year period.
estimate over 30 to 40 years, how many deals have you done?
1,200.
1,200. It's
Not
rare
as
that
much as you. You're at 1,600.
I had a team though, so yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Get that. Wade's done 1,200 transactions. This is such a good example because Wade doesn't have time. Now, out of those 1,200 transactions, many of them were repeat clients because Wade's good at what he does. People stick with him. They don't hire someone else after they've once you once you've tried Wade, you stay with Wade. That's how his business works, okay? Even so, he does not have the time to stay in contact with all 1,200. He can't call them every week and email them individually. He can't do that. It's not possible. So he needs a machine, okay? Not a literal machine, of course, but he needs a marketing machine where he can stay in contact with them. Now, I don't know what Wade's method is, and he doesn't have to tell us. I'm going to suggest that you need a marketing machine. And by need, I mean need. Meaning, every time you make a contact, whether it's at a BNI meeting, whether it's at a uh, let's see, Chamber of Commerce meeting, a CCIM networking meeting, a pitch, whatever. You do a deal with them, you don't do a deal with them, they go into your machine. And I call it touch 12. Okay, you can call it whatever you want. For me, I want everyone in my world to hear from me once per month. Okay, well, if they hear from me once per month, that means they hear from me 12 times in a year. Okay, so in December, they get a holiday card from me. In January, they get a newsletter. In July, they get whatever. You can customize that. That's not what we're here to talk about today, is the plan, but you have a plan to make at least 12 contacts per year. That in and of itself is can feel like a full-time job. And you might not even have a CRM. Some of you who are doing really well have a CRM. You've got contact information, you've already got a drip campaign. I get emails from a few of you regularly. Awesome.
Hmm.
I hear from most of you this many times. Zero. Not awesome, right? I'm suggesting Kishan already has the machine. He'll let you use it. He'll even put the stuff in. He'll tell you what to say. That could be one option, is once you're making all of these contacts, even if you're cold calling or door knocking, every single person you talk to, you put their contact information into the marketing machine, and that keeps you front of mind so that when they're ready to transact, they call you. Okay, that's pillar one. All right, Kishan, let's talk about pillar two. Okay. So there's several slides here. In fact, Kishan, let's go back. Since we're recording, let's go one slide back. I want people to be able to see this on the recording. So if you're watching the recording, you can pause right here. You can see Kishan's got templates. He has, like, you don't have to invent this stuff. You don't have to train him. You don't have to give him your logo so you can match the colors, and you can give him direction. Hey, look, page one has to look like this, page two has to look like that. Great. But he's got plug and play stuff. If you're new to this, you don't know what you want, he's going to have options. All right, let's go to the next slide. Here's all the different ways that he is willing to, when I say he, his team, okay, it's not one person. He's got this whole team. They build the machine that does the marketing for you, okay, that keeps, basically incubates these leads, okay? So they incubate all of your contacts, keep them warm until they hatch, right, and turn into deals, then you take over. They will not, however, call for you. And I'm going to just send two sentences on this. If you think that outsourcing prospecting is a good idea, I want to invite you to reconsider. Prospecting is hard. It's not fun. It's painful. It's like exercising. I know some of you enjoy exercising. It's like eating healthy. It's all the things you don't want to do, but are so good for you. You ought to consider being the person that does your own prospecting. You ought to be the one on the phone calls. If you don't want to be, then you can find someone to outsource it to. TheWaySpark is probably not going to do your prospecting for you, but there are other services that will. If you want to do text campaign, or if you want to do phone calls, you can hire very inexpensive people to make those phone calls for you. I'll just say one more thought on that. My concern is that your brand is dependent on you. And if someone else is calling on your behalf and the first time they hear from someone, they're speaking to someone else, I don't know if that's the brand you want. So I would invite you to do your own prospecting. I believe it's worth way more than $130 an hour, but if you choose to outsource it, you can. I just don't know that TheWaySpark will do that for you. Okay, Kishan, what's our next pillar? Pillar 2, administrative and operational work. Okay, so that is getting our listings onto LoopNet or CoStar, RealNext, Crexi, whatever. It's managing data entry. It's taking your commission checks and making sure they go in the right account. All the stuff, tracking your deadlines, making sure once you go under contract, all those performance deadlines, they can either remind you that they're coming up, or they can be the one to interact with the parties in the transaction. You can tell them how you want it served. Okay, medium rare, rare, blue rare. You tell them how you want it served. They'll cook it to order. Okay, so they cook it the way you want it to be done. They estimate if they take these on average, you recapture 15 hours a week. And I would suggest, what could you do with 15 hours a week? Well, you could spend more time with your family or more times gaming on your phone or whatever else. But even better than that is you could go find new deals, which means, frankly, that you have to have the motivation and the discipline to actually go make phone calls, cold calls, door knocking, and go to networking events and actually do that work, or call other agents, try to get referrals. You would have to actually commit to that because many of us are hiding behind our administrative work and saying we are too busy to prospect. And I'm suggesting that there's a solution to that, but it means you actually have to prospect. And it's not fun, but it will work. I guarantee it. I've watched it dozens, hundreds of times. If you pick up the phone and make the phone calls over and over again for a long enough period, usually 1 year, your business will blow up. You will make more money. In fact, I'll make you this guarantee. Over 48 months, if you make 160 calls a week, cold calls, you will double your income. I guarantee it. You can't help but double your income. And you don't even actually have to be that good of a broker. All you have to do is make the phone calls. I guarantee it'll happen. Okay. Okay. Let's go on to the next pillar. Brenda says, Brenda's turning into a cheerleader. If she came off of mute, you'd hear her starting to give you the standing ovation. This is pretty good. Okay. Prime hours. If you're going to do administrative work, whether you do it yourself or outsource it, don't do it between 9 to 5. Please, please, please. Commercial real estate is all about okay, I've got a friend who likes to fish, and he goes fishing, and every day he fishes, he writes down the bait he used, the temperature, and the time. And I don't know how many of you fish, but at least in Utah, there are prime fishing hours in the morning at dawn and twilight in the evening. I don't know why. I can't explain it to you, but those are prime hours. So if you want to fish, you're going to have the most success during those hours. Commercial real estate's the same thing, between 9 to 5. So if you can free those hours up to work on that prospecting, working on your deals, as opposed to managing your books, you're going to have more success. Cold calling on a Saturday or a Sunday is not very effective. And Wade, who regularly works on the weekend, could probably tell you from personal experience. I don't know if he's actually picked up the phone on the weekend, but very few people are going to answer us, right? And Wade said it the best. That's when the fish are feeding, is during the day. That's exactly right. And if you actually track your calls like a fisherman, like Wade, you can already tell he's a data guy, right? So I'll bet if he prospects, if he cold calls, he'll actually track when he makes his calls and he'll get it down to a science. He'll say, I know when to call. 9 a.m. is horrible. People are late to the office, morning meetings. I bet he calls between 2 and 4 p.m. and he probably nails it. He's getting the best success rate, all because he just tracks his success over time. Okay, Kishan, let's keep going. I think there's a third pillar here. Yep, third pillar is commercial deal analysis. Now, this is tricky. Okay. Some of us, like me, this is why I do commercial real estate. I like the analysis. I'm not going to outsource it because it's fun for me. And I work in this job because I like this. And I'm not, it doesn't matter. You pay me zero. I'm still going to do this because I like it. But if you find this overwhelming, or you don't know how, or you're not confident about it, or it takes too much time, then add this. Take this part. Okay, so I didn't take, the I don't know the um the butter curry. Fine, you can have it. That's fine. This is great. These guys are experienced. The nice thing about this pillar and having someone who can do commercial deal analysis for you is because it requires a lot of training. You can't just take your son and sit him down at the computer and say, hey, do a DSCR cap rate analysis on this shopping center in Mankato, Minnesota. Sorry, he's not going to know where to start. But Kishan and his team do. They're very experienced at this. They even have data sources. If you don't know where to find the data, Kishan may be able to help. And so I would invite you to engage with them on this and this task alone. If you're looking to do a BOV, how do we do this? It might be worth a phone call to figure it out. And I'll tell you, I charge between $500 and $2,500 per BOV. And I don't know what Kishan is, but I'll bet he's less than that. If all I did was outsource my broker opinion of values to Kishan, and I charged $1,000 per report, I'd actually be making money and not doing any of the work. That's the idea, right? Taking the arbitrage, paying them to do something, and then taking the spread on top. Okay, we got some testimonials here. Shika's saying, hey, I've worked with these guys before. They're top notch, they're quality, they know what they're doing. Yeah. So what are we trying to do here? We're trying to move you from an administrator who's doing low value tasks and become a CEO. Lead your business, create revenue, drive profit, and become more successful in your market. Great. Okay. Few quotes from people who have used the 𝗙𝒧spark in the past. The fact that I'm here talking to you today, and let me be very clear. There's no conflict of interest here. I'm not getting paid. I'm doing this because I trust Kishan and I respect what he's doing. That should be endorsement enough, right? And then you can see here several people, some that you might recognize who have used them in the past. And then, of course, people in the chat. There's no shortage of folks who recommend these guys. Okay. With that, are there any questions about the model that we've talked about? Kishan, you can go back to the last slide, or yeah, the previous slide. Oh, sorry, the one with the QR code. Okay. Hearing no questions, here's what I'm going to invite you to do. Don't book the QR code right now. You absolutely can. Kishan's going to be like, hey, no, we want appointments. Of course. You can book the call right now. I'm going to suggest you're not ready for the call. You got to go through the process. Number one, figure out your hourly rate. Number two, get through 1 week of tracking your time. Commit to it. Do it. And then come back, and your conversation with Kishan will be very, very meaningful. You can also book a call with him right now. Get 30 minutes and have him discuss what they can do and what they can't do. And I think you'll find that you'll be impressed with that conversation. However, you will get the most mileage if you come prepared with what you need help with. And they'll be much more able to assist and give you strategic direction if you have those answers. I'll leave you with this, and that is you can make more money. You can be successful. You can leave a legacy for yourself and those coming behind you. You can build a team. You can be very successful. The 𝗙𝒧spark might be part of that team, or they might not. It's okay. No one here, including Kishan, is going to get their feelings hurt if you choose something else, but you cannot do it all. And if you have told yourself that story, it's time to close that chapter and move on to a chapter where you get help because you deserve the help, and it is the only path to making the most money in this business. I appreciate you. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to 𝗙𝗔. 𝗙𝗔, make sure you've got that QR code up there right here. Here's the website. Here's the QR code. If you're listening to this on the recording, pause here. Make sure you have this information in your notes so that you can reach out. 𝗙𝗔, what did I miss? Anything you want to add?
Okay, yeah, I think you covered the most parts. So yeah, as you know, Nate said that you need to do the analysis of how you're spending your time, and then definitely book a meeting with us if you want to try us, or even sneak into what solutions and what strategies we offer. There's a link in the chat for booking an appointment with us, so you can do that. Of course, the whole idea behind this webinar is right use of your time, your prime hours, making sure you're spending your prime hours and your valuable time on revenue generating tasks, not on anything that's repetitive and that can be leveraged, right? So that's the main idea. So yeah, I'll stop sharing the screen. And yes, thank you, Nate, for doing this for us. And as he said, he's doing it just because he trusts us, and maybe we've been knowing each other for years. So Nate, I'm really grateful for you, sharing all your experience and how the businesses are built. Sometimes, it's like, most of us being commercial agents, we work like a freelancer, not we don't make it like a business, right? So the only transformation you can think about is turning this freelancing or kind of your work into a business processes, and that will happen when you manage your task effectively. And when I say that, you need to create processes around each task, what's taking your time, and you need to optimize each process that you are following, right? When I say optimize, it means like you need to keep it making better and better, every month or so, right? And understand, how it's going, what you can be done better. That's where, you can create teams going forward. Even if you are not creating team, even if you're working by yourself, you'll have that back end support where you can work on more and more deals, rather than just spending all of your time on few deals. And more deals is directly equivalent to more revenue and more profits, right? So we all are here in this business for the profits, right? So that's all from my side. Okay. uh, I think Nisha has put the link in the chat, so you can click on the calendar link and book a time with us. We can, even if you're not working with us, that's all okay. We can go through what exactly you're doing right now, and we can, suggest and strategize on based on our experience, what you should, whether with us or with someone else, or you can hire your son or your neighbor, like Nate said. But it depends. You can check us out. Hear us our strategy, what we would do for you. If you give us a chance, or if what we suggest for you to do it with someone else as well. Okay. And we've been doing this for years, right? I do see some of our existing clients here, including Wade, Cedric, and many others. So Cedric, if you want to come off mute and share your experience working with us for a minute, that would be wonderful as well.
Leverage is a big part of success in real estate, and Nate put that time tracker on there. The very first sales coach I had, and I'll date myself, was more than 25 years ago. Used that exact same format, and we broke it down in 15-minute increments instead of half an hour. And the word pain is what Nate used, and it is painful to look at yourself. And this is before social media, and there were still distractions that kept you away from doing the income producing activities that are most important. And so Keyshawn and I have worked together for over a year now, and TheWaySpark is really freed up a lot of my time and stabilized the patient, if you will, as far as success from a business standpoint. And I've been able to add more agents and obviously save more time.
Yes, and one fun thing about we working with Cedric is we started creating these processes, so not only Cedric or me can follow those processes. All the new team members, the future team members, have something to look forward to, right? So they are not confused when they join the team. They don't feel like okay, I don't know what to be done. I don't know how to be done. No, I don't know what where is, what documents are where's the checklist. So we are trying to, build it like a business wherein everything is so organized, everything is in place. And, Cedric does it very well, and we try to help him as much as we can from our side. Okay, any questions for us, or for Coach Nate? We'll be happy to answer that. You guys can unmute yourself and ask any questions around this topic or anything else. We have very experienced, very knowledgeable Coach Nate with us for a few more minutes. So if you want to ask anything, feel free to ask before we wrap this up. No questions?
I have a question for Nate.
Please go ahead.
Nate, for somebody who's new to a new area and a new industry, like Kishan is assisting me right now in working toward industrial real estate in Middle Tennessee. What's some advice that you give to somebody that's brand new to an area who's been here less than a year and switching to a different asset class?
I love it, Wade. I think here's the problem that Wade's really asking. And Wade, you correct me if I'm wrong. Wade's really
Please.
saying there are people who know more about this than I do. And why would
Yeah.
anyone hire me if other people are more expert than me? Is that a fair?
Subconsciously, I think that's accurate because I don't know it like I do residential and land sales and multifamily. I know by the back of my hand. So yeah, I think there's a
Right.
lot of lack of confidence and wanting to always do it right and getting it right and not being some fake that's out there winging it and screw up somebody's life, or finances.
Yeah. So we've got to get Wade. When I say we, it's really Wade's responsibility, but it feels a little more family-ish for us to talk about it in these terms. We need Wade to become the expert, better than anyone else in something, because then he'll win, because then he's the obvious choice to hire. So here's what I recommend. He picks a very small geography. Now, when you say Middle Tennessee, what are we talking about? Nashville?
Yeah, an hour radius around Nashville.
Okay. So I don't know Nashville extremely well, but maybe he picks Brentwood, for instance. I'm going to pick the industrial in Brentwood, and he picks just a very small area, Brentwood south of Nashville by, say, 30, 40 minutes. So he picks this early, and he actually prints out a map or he has a digital map, and he draws a circle around this very small area. Wade then calls every tenant and every landlord in that area. Now, if he only wants to do tenant work, he only calls the tenants. If he only wants agency work, he only calls the landlords. But he calls all of them.
Okay.
And he makes the area so small that that only takes him a week or two. So he goes through the whole list, calls everyone, door knocks everyone, he makes contact. From that point on, guess who's the expert in Brentwood industrial real estate? You're looking at him. Wade Wright. In 2 weeks, he's talked to everyone. Is he the expert of industrial real estate nationwide? No. Is he the expert in Middle Tennessee? No. But in Brentwood, he sure is. And that gives
Awesome.
people a reason to hire him. And so then once he's done that, he expands out. And I don't know what the surrounding communities are, but he moves his circle, makes it a little bit bigger, and he talks to all those folks. And he talks to all those folks. Meanwhile, he's putting it into that marketing machine. Everyone he talks to, because not everyone's hungry. Not every fish is ready to feed at that time. That's okay. They will at some point. So you put them in the marketing machine, and when they're ready, they hatch. You've got a deal. And as you
Okay.
expand, you're becoming better and better. And over time, hopefully, you are the guy for Middle Tennessee industrial. But if we start small, you win that small territory first and give people a reason to hire you. That's the way I'd approach it.
Thank you. That's great advice. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. All right, Kishan.
Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much, Nate, once again for, helping us, everyone, what needs to be done. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
You
Thank
as
you,
Thank you,
well.
Coach
Keisha.
Nate.
Thank you, Kishan.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Nate.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Hey, thank you,
Bye.
Nate. Thank you, Kishan. Thank you,
Thank you,
Nisha.
everyone.
It was, I think, great class. Great class.
Yes,
Yes.
we still have the link in the chat for calendar and booking. If you want to just click on that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, we'll do. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Have a
Bye.
great day ahead.
You too.